Oh, goodness. Good evening, everybody. It's okay that I'm late and it's okay that I didn't do that. It's all okay because, hello, I am Spirit 420 because everything I do is so 420. I know I am running well late tonight by about 15 minutes, I would say. Oops, wrong button. Um, and that, quite frankly, it's okay. I've got a lot of stuff going on. I messed up on the intro. And just so everybody knows, uh, today is Thursday, right? Okay. Um, Number one, tomorrow I have an interview. Good luck. Number two, Saturday will be the season finale of season five. As a matter of fact, my wife and I tomorrow we have to take. I've got to take pictures. I got to come up with a new pose. Maybe some of y'all could, throw me ideas of a new pose because I got to do a new pose for Sky and I. I just have to do it. What's up? That's where Bob is going to be the one that. What's up, brother? How you doing? Nice to see you. Bob will be with me tomorrow, or excuse me, Saturday for the finale. I may have somebody else, Bob. Not sure yet. We'll see. Things have just been crazy. It's a good kind of crazy right now. So I'll start off with this. Finally got to see my therapist. Finally got a therapist. When I say that, when Sky died, how do I say we didn't? If you remember, right before he died, I was fired. So any uh, benefits and all that stuff was gone shortly, like within a couple of weeks. Funny enough, like a week or so after he died, right? So I tried to get some therapy, and that did not work out because just being very frank, I'm looking forward to it too, man. Just to be, incredibly frank and upfront about it, when you lose benefits and you go on Medicaid, right? It's like an underlying, never said or spoken rule that you just kind of go to the back of the line in the simplest of terms, right? You just go to the back of the line. And I get it, that you don't get, the doctors don't get paid as much. It's a bigger hassle, more hoops, blah, blah, blah. And again, I get it. Okay. I'm not disputing that. But either way, right after I tried, I mean, it took me a while. I don't know if y'all remember, but it wasn't that long ago that I finally got any kind of pills, even. So, and I know some of y'all, like, if you're taking the Lexapro, don't you have a therapist? No, you have, nothing works the way it used to when I was younger. Last time I saw somebody for therapy, I was in my mid 30s. And the same person that I spoke to for an hour and a half or hour and 40, either 45 to an hour and a half, whatever the hell it was the same individual that wrote me medication. It was a psychiatrist who was a therapist. Man, I'm just telling you, it's completely different now. First, you got to make sure, I'll just say one thing, you got to make sure that your therapist will talk to your psychiatrist if they're not one and the same. You have to ask your psychiatrist straight up, do you offer therapy? Because odds are they don't. I mean, so my therapist, or excuse me, my medical doctor, it's, we see each other maybe 10 minutes and, anything new? No. You feel like killing yourself? No. Okay. I'm going to keep the medicine where it is. Right. Um, Therapists, though, first of all, they all go through a scrutinizing education, I believe. But therapists have the least education. However, today I was, thanks, man. I appreciate that. I do. I don't know completely how much. I have a good idea, and I thank you very much, sir, and I appreciate it. And the reality is, I am doing better. It takes one day at a time. I've got a lot on my plate, and that helps. But to get back to where get back to it, like part of this has been waiting on this therapy, right? And I got lucky in the fact that I have a therapist and the doctor in the same building. Of course, it's all telemedicine now, right? So they're not in the same building, but like under the same roof, and so that they can communicate. And that's what I was trying to get to the point, is that this allows my therapist and my doctor to communicate, right? Well, when your therapist and your doctor communicate, like the first thing that goes on now. I was talking about the education. Before I go there, let me say this. In regards to education, a therapist now has to do, like, they have to kind of get certified in certain areas. And I find it funny because you used to be able to be a therapist with damn near, yeah, I mean, you can pretty much tell anybody to do and have a fucking radio show, saying it without even actually having any credentials. That's not the case. So, I mean, kudos for them. Therapists have a lot of hoops that they have to jump through now in order to maintain and even get that title. But what's funny is, like, this really, and she was a very nice young lady. I mean, no disrespect to her. She did the best, and she even changed some of her approach with me, which I thought was nice, by the way. But the beginning of the meeting started much like the beginning of the other one that I literally ran for the hills, literally. And what I mean by that is that it's so impersonal, and it's so not having to do with therapy. It's ridiculous. Number one, it is hard, and I mean no disrespect to anybody in the profession, because I know I'm that old jackass now. I get it. But it is hard when you're in your 50s and you're dealing with some of the problems that I'm dealing with, and you're talking to somebody, and this was the first one who, hasn't even gotten married yet, much less had kids. I don't know if this woman had kids. I didn't ask her. I didn't care. She showed more remorse and, more condolences, if you will, than the last therapist. And when I said something, she was like, what, let's just put this aside, and I'll get to that point. And what that was is this whole intake now is like a fucking process. It's not a chance for you to talk, really, technically speaking. It's where they ask a series of questions. They show you a bunch of forms, and you basically sign off on this shit saying, yes, I agree to it. And, the three things that they have to know is, are you homicidal or suicidal, right? Suicidal or homicidal? Is there any child abuse going on in your home? And is there any elder abuse going on in your home? Well, oh, you're so sweet. Thank goodness, Spirit. Look at there. I thought I was going to have to do this one dry mouth. That's what she said. Okay, so anyway, but that's what she said got me. Oh yeah. I know. I can't believe it. I guess it does make sense. Yeah. Now I'm truly suckers, just lost. I have a row of buttons. A lot of people may not know that, but I have all these buttons under here that say all these different things. That's fine. I really enjoy it, especially when I'm not on camera. So this intake process. If it's your first meeting with a therapist, you're really not going to get anything out of it other than them asking a bunch of questions and basically making sure that you are not going to kill yourself or anybody else, and you're not abusing your children, and you're not abusing any elderlies or your parents, right? And it's funny to me how anybody, like, first of all, like the first therapist said those questions, and I'm like, A, your parents aren't elders, right? That chick's parents were probably younger than me. The first one, she was in her 20s, man. I kid you not, odds are that her parents were the same age, younger, or maybe a year older, right? At least today, I got the feeling that this woman is in her 40s. She's been practicing almost 10 years. So that right there tells me stuff. And they do have a lot of school. Plus, she has a master's. And my guess, based on how she reacted when I discussed Skylar, my guess is that she has at least one child, right? It's just the feeling that I got. Now, regardless of that, this intake process, it really should change, folks. I'm telling you, it's not nice, and it doesn't prepare you at all for what therapy potentially and quite frankly should be when you have it, you know. I mean, first of all, this is so stupid. If I was homicidal or suicidal, would I tell anybody? No. If I was beating my kids, is that usually information that you're out there? Yeah, I'm a kid beater. No, you're not. And last but not least, if I was hurting someone elderly, odds are, no, I get it, man. I know y'all already come back, but odds are they would have said something by now, right? But it might be now the right time. The sad thing is, my my poor mother, like if I kid you not, if I touch her, like watch that hard, did you see that? Like literally, if I push down that hard, right, she will get it's almost, I guess you can call it a bruise. Technically it's a bruise. I mean, it's not like your normal bruises that are like, the normal bruises I was growing up weren't very dark most of the time. This is like fucking dark, man. It looks like almost like a black bruise, right? And I feel for her because I showed you how hard, like if she hits anything, if she touches anything, if the dogs jump on her, dude. I mean, I don't know if y'all remember, but the dog jumped on her and ripped her skin out not too long ago. Like that was last year, ripped her skin right off. So her skin, I think that they have changed some of the pills and all that so that her skin is not as thin. But still, it's ludicrous. To me, it's ludicrous that they ask these dumb questions. I guess they're looking for people who they can, look at them and go, oh, you're lying, and I need to raise flags. But I told her, I was like, all this is what I said, and I was trying to be nice about it, but I know I wasn't. I was like, I have gone through therapy. When I said what year I started, I think that really smacked it into her head, right? Like how old I am and how long I've been doing this. I was like, I went to therapy at 5 years old in 1977. I was like, I have dealt with the fact that my mother is gay. I've dealt with the fact that I am gay. I've dealt with the fact that my father beat me and moved on. I was like, I've dealt with all these things, and I did it, probably before you were, quite frankly, when I was 19, my guess is she was maybe at best 8, maybe 9. So life comparison, it really does matter. It really does. And it was nice because A, she said that, and B, she immediately altered how she was approaching me. That's all you can really ask for, right? Like we're stuck together right now. Yes, I can literally fire her, but then God knows how long I'll have to wait for another therapist. I mean, I have been waiting for her to get her. Geez, I want to say since February, somewhere in there. Maybe March, but it seems like around February. So I wanted to try to make it work, and when I saw her really push forward and say, you know what, let's just and she put the intake form aside, right? And it's a legality. I get it. Technically, what she did was leave herself open and liable. But I think she trusted her gut and realized that I don't give a shit about that stuff. I really don't. I'm like, none of this matters. I've already been through all this. I was like, the only thing that matters, and it was a Zoom meeting, so I literally pointed out there. I was like, it's him, because that was what I did. I asked her. I was like, are there any notes as to why I'm looking for therapy? And she was like, yeah. And you could hear it. I hadn't even discussed it yet. Had not had one real word about it yet, right? Like in the sense of the actual event. And she knew, she had read and understood that, it was losing a child and it was very traumatic, right? Just to wrap it up, because I really don't have a lot of time and I have so much to do tonight. What was nice is she ended up listening, and on a call that I would normally not probably get some of the help and attention that I was looking for, I did. I got to have some healthy cries, and I haven't cried in a while, right? I want to scream, but I didn't want to freak her out, on the first. Eventually, though, I'm serious. I want to scream. So there's just things that we have to get out. There's nowhere, I can't think of anywhere in my home or in my neighborhood that I can go and scream as loud as I want to scream and not cause a ruckus. And it's not fun to do it in the car, I've done that too. It is funny. I was, not only did I get to say all this, right, but I also talked about who I am, and I gave her my channel. And I even told her, I was like, please, watch the trailer and check it out and see. I was like, that trailer really just gives you an idea who I am right out of the gate, right? And gives you an idea. Eat your dinner, man. Eat your dinner, brother. Hey, don't, man. I love you. You're extremely kind, but you don't owe me anything. But thank you, brother. I love you. Have a good evening. Go get some food, man. I'll be here. At the end of it, because like I said, I shared spirit of 420. I shared, some of my core beliefs, bad, good, how really, the only difference is point of view. Right. I even shared my chaotic, oh, geez. Chaotic destiny with her, right? Which I'll say this. I think I actually blew her mind, because at one point I said to her one of my favorite questions. Love you, buddy. One of my favorite questions to pass on to people, especially doctors, if you will, and science-driven people when I first meet them, because it's one, I don't understand why it's not something that has been posed more often and discussed more often. But when a evolutionist speaks to a theologist, right, I like to point out, because just to give you a quick heads up, one thinks that God created all this in a plan, right? And there's a divine plan. The other one believes in the Big Bang and everything has evolved the way it was supposed to. The one that I always pose to both sides: isn't it obvious to them that God made the Big Bang? That's part of the divine plan. You can't plan chaos. I love that they just can't get over this concept that I planned this, but wasn't quite sure of where it would go. That's the beauty of watching it grow. So think about that. Put that in your beanstalk tonight. But I mean, seriously, think about that, because both sides have to go, okay, and rethink their whole, base of their whole life's basis, right? I mean, some of my other favorites, I know you've heard these, but just to remind you, I don't care who it is, take any hero, any of your heroes, and understand that that man is also the worst villain to a lot of people. right? Take your best villain for that. Same way, and just flip it, right? Take the worst guy you ever thought about. He is a great hero to a large number of people, right? And nobody, I'm not saying nobody, I shouldn't say that. There's people that are just pure evil. We know that, right? But the average person, and let's say, on the scale of totally fucking evil to totally enlightened, there's maybe 1 or 2% that are just pure light and pure dark, right? And then the rest of us fall in here in the scale, right? Even these ones that have 98% bad in them. It is my true belief, after talking to people, being live for 51 years, it's not my true belief, it is my knowledge, if you will. What's up, Tom? Good to see you, buddy. It is my knowledge at this point that 98% of the time, people believe that what they're doing is the right decision morally. And that puts them on one side of the fence or the other. But technically speaking, this fence that we've created most of the time represents very little of us. It's usually one or two. I love to talk about this, but it's usually just one or two factors in this list of factors that we don't agree with somebody, and then we want to kill them like they're the worst person, when in fact 80, 85, even 90% of all the other factors that make them human, right? What team they like, what music they like, so on and so forth. All these different things that do create us in an individual form, right? It gives us individuality, our favorite color, blah, 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 religion, all that shit. You have more in common with everybody than you ever will not have in common with them. How often have you met somebody and you're like, nope, 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 just checking off the list? And you're going, yeah, man, I don't know any of these. There's nothing about you that is even remotely. I'm usually, there's one or two bad, and then I hear all this other good stuff, and I'm like, okay, is it going to weigh out? Like, am I okay with him, dropping the N word, but then he gives all this money to, broke kids? I mean, I've literally met people like that, especially in the South. Pick your battles, as they say. Pick your battles. That's probably where I'll end it tonight. I love all of you. Each and every one of you are incredibly special and incredibly unique people. The fact that you are unique, the fact that no one else thinks like you, is not because no one else is like you, and when you die, it's all over. I know that people want you to believe that because it brings them so much power. The simple truth is, when you die, you learn all of what you're supposed to. If you knew any of it before coming in, you would taint the learning experience of what you're here to gain. You really would. And a lot of people don't understand that, but it's funny because if you talk to a science person, they'll totally understand. So really, anybody with science background should completely understand that concept. Have a beautiful Saturday, Friday tomorrow, as well as a beautiful Saturday. I will see all of you on Saturday. I will have Bob with me. Thank you so much. Hey, I love it. What's up, Oliver? Pick your battles. Nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. Good to see all of you. Have an incredible, blessed evening. Have an incredible rest of your week. Thank God tomorrow is Friday. Maybe you could send some positive vibes and a little prayer out too, if you don't mind. I do have an interview that I really want. This would really change things and kind of put me back to where I was, and a little bit ahead even. So I'm really, really going to work hard on that one. That was why I got the haircut. I know you can't really tell it right now. It looks a little sloppy, but I did get the hair cut, and tomorrow in the morning I'll shave and get all nice and pretty for this one. So anyway, I hope all y'all have a truly a wonderful rest of your week. You are incredible. You are awesome. You are, how do I say, much more important than you probably, thanks, man, I appreciate it. You are way more important than most likely you believe or even are aware. And I can tell you this too, because it took me, just know it took me years. I was just saying it to somebody else, because the easiest thing in this world, the simplest thing in this world is the one thing you need to have a great life, no matter what you believe, right? No matter what you believe. I don't care. Thank you. I don't care. Oh yeah, it'll be Saturday, just so you know. Saturday, Bob and I will be on. And I don't know what the Green Scientist is cooking up, but we'll have to wait and see. It'll be good. But what I was going to say is the one thing, thank you, Tom, the one thing that, I got another great agree, and I don't want to push my kudos too much, but let's just say the lady was really, really impressed with me, the therapist. And I told her, I was like, none of it matters, and none of it is a hill of beans until you love yourself. You can't love somebody else. You can't do yourself properly. You can't do the world properly if you don't first learn to love the person in the mirror. So please, I end every show with this. You are awesome. You are incredible. You need to love yourself. And once you do, everything else will fall into place, no matter what you believe. I swear, no matter what you believe, up, down, left, right, universe, God, it doesn't matter. If you just love yourself, everything will work itself out. That said, I hope y'all have it, as I've said 100 times, I hope you have a blessed week, and I will see you on Saturday with Bob the Green Scientist on my season finale.
I switch here, I'm a strange fuck. Consist on ain't something I could say well. Throw my change into the wishing for a change well. Wish a day a swell life for the next come. And when the next come, pretend that it's the best one. Like I ain't even gonna try and say that to the next one.